And he has all kinds of documentation in the book, even with a map and pictures of various things that are going on in this concentration camp program. And Serge Manas made a plan to go across America and expose this. He was going to offer this book right here across America to people. He wrote and told me in a letter, he said, Brother Mars, I am desperate that people know about this. They must learn. America, and even the back of this says, America is in peril. Serge Manas. He was only around 40 years of age, and he was found dead. His wife, his children are convinced he was assassinated. By the way, I've been unable to find the author of this book. I have asked for people on the radio. I've talked about it on my videos, on television. William R. Pabst, I cannot find any record of this man existing today. If you know where William Pabst is today, would you please let me know? Was he picked up? Was he taken away because he had exposed too much? So much to tell you, my friends. Here, for example, this is an actual law of Congress that was introduced and passed, called the Emergency Powers Institute. And it begins by saying, this is actually from the Senate now, report number 93-549. It says, a majority of the people of the United States have lived all of their lives under emergency rule. For 40 years, freedoms and governmental procedures guaranteed by the Constitution have, in varying degrees, been abridged by laws brought into force by states of national emergency. The Senate of the United States in this report admitted we still live under emergency rule. All these many decades we have done so, and no one has been told. Did you know that you're under emergency rule? That your freedoms under the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, have been abridged? Did you know that? Here it is in this Senate report. 93-549. By the way, it goes on to say here, the President, under the powers delegated by statutes existing today, the President may seize property, organize and control the means of production. That's all business, all factories, everything. Seize commodities. That's food. Seize your food. Assign military forces abroad. Institute martial law. Seize and control all transportation and communications. Regulate the operation of private enterprise. Restrict travel. And in a plethora, that means many particular ways, control the lives of all American citizens. There it is, Senate report. Now, let's keep on going here. I'd love to have at least 2 hours in this video. Had a gentleman who wrote Senator Tom Harkin of the state of Iowa and asked him for me. I don't want you to see the man's name, if you don't mind here, because I don't think that would be right, the gentleman that he wrote to. But Tom Harkin thanked him for writing me. He said he's concerned about these executive orders that give the president such dictatorial authority. And he said, I appreciate your concerns, wrote back Mr. Harkin, regarding the executive orders of the President of the United States. These orders are usually given in times of crisis or war. I have enclosed some information for you and hope it proves helpful. I have 3 packets of information Senator Harkin sent this gentleman. These are from the American Law Division of the Library of Congress, talking about the President's emergency powers over domestic affairs. Here's from the Congressional Research Service, the Library of Congress, talking about the same thing. My friends, this exists. This is from the U.S. Senator Tom Harkin, and he obtained these issues. And then here I have in my hands copies of all of the executive orders that we're talking about today. From across the United States, citizens and friends of this ministry have sent me documentation proving that something horrible is amiss and is about today, and that concentration camps are a reality. From North Carolina, I received these photos from friends of the ministry. I'm going to go over each one very carefully. This couple told me that they, as they were driving in the small town of Pine Bluff, North Carolina, they came upon, sitting on, nearby, there on the railroad tracks, this huge double-decker, these train cars. And they were curious about them. And they went back home and got their camera and came back. There were no guards around to stop them from investigating, so they decided to do a little bit of a spy activity there. This shows you how very large this railroad car is. You can see the woman standing beside it. Notice these are like no railroad cars I've ever seen. Now she told me, and here again, by the way, is the end of just one of these cars. You can again see how very huge they are. Again, they're like double deckers. And then she said, Brother Tex, she says, please pay attention very carefully to picture number 4. That's this picture here. We managed to take a picture through a crack of the inside of the railway car. Notice the chains. They appear to look like shackles. I want you also, my friends, to see what appeared to be seats or benches on either side. And my friends, if this was a cattle vehicle, cattle don't need padded benches, do they? This looks like this is going to transport human beings. She said also, the cars are well vented. They have lots of air holes. Now, at the same time, I received so many magazines in here. Here's from a magazine that called Frontline Solutions that talks about solutions for people with large warehouses and inventories and so forth and transportation problems. And in this journal, it talked about the Defense Logistics Agency, which services all the branches of the U.S. military. And my friends, listen, they are preparing, they are computerizing, and they are improving all of their trains. Notice this train car and the military soldiers there. And I'm not saying either one of these are trains that would transport prisoners to concentration camps, but they've got to transport you one way or another, do they not? I've also been able to discover that in places like Amarillo and other Air Force bases that have been closed down, there still exists strange-looking aircraft, Boeing 747 wide-body passenger jets, sitting with no marking, sometimes painted solid white, sometimes black, sitting out on the tarmac, out on the flight line, on the concrete of what are supposed to be closed-up military bases. In fact, my friends, most of the military installations and bases that were closed during the Clinton era, hundreds and hundreds of them were closed up, are still being kept for use by the federal government. And many of these are being turned into prison camps. Now, some other friends of the ministry sent me these pictures. And they said, Tex, we saw these, and we can't say for sure, but we heard about the poison gas vehicles where they took the German Nazis took prisoners, and they put them in these trucks, and they thought they were being transported, but then they began to pump Zyklon B poisonous gas into the back of the trucks, even as they were going down the highway. And I was given some pictures of these trucks that appear to be the same thing. Take a look at these. What do you make of that, my friend? Then we go on a little bit more. Here, by the way, here's some other shots. What kind of vehicles are these? Are these for transportation of prisoners? Maybe they don't want anybody to see inside these. Then, from a computerization and computer management publication called Automatic ID News was this article. And I think this is both frightening and very revealing. It says, new DOD, that's Department of Defense system, tracks refugees. Oh, yeah?